what I mean? No.
Good morning,
like
Lord.
Wake up, sleepy head.
Rise and shine.
I need some coffee.
All right, everyone, grab your comics and let's get ready for the show. Well, almost forgot. Hit that subscribe button.
What's good, BCL family in the morning? Let's get it cracking. Man, been a long time, maybe 2, maybe even 3 weeks since we seen y'all boys on the show, man. I'm glad y'all are here. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the comments, man, because I'm having some technical difficulties as per usual. On my morning commute, my phone is acting as if usually when you describe a mechanical or electrical thing, you say she. I need to look that up and see why people say, well, she's running good. Like, why people do that? Anyways, good morning, happy Junth. Angel, can you hear me? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you can hear your boy. Somebody let me know in the damn comments. Dion's supposed to be joining me. I don't know what's going on with him, man. But we're going to get into it, man. Got a couple topics we're going to talk about. We're going to be highlighting some things that I saw. Thanks, Angel. That I saw in the Facebook group. The famous and infamous Black Comic Lords Facebook group, man. That's where it all goes down. I feel like it's a good epicenter for kind of getting the pulse on comics from at least our side of the corner. Yeah, man. So shout out to the Breakfast crew this morning. Can hear you. Thanks. Appreciate you, man. I'm not disappointed, man. I'm gonna start off with this. I had a Zawanda, Prince of Zulu documentary that I did. It was like 10 minutes. I was a little long, but like nobody watched it. So I took it down, man. I had like 39 views. It was up there for like 3 days. Nobody watched it. So I said, yeah. Nobody wants to hear 90s documentary on Black independent comics. It was actually a good story because the writer for the story actually in real life got kidnapped, and we haven't heard from him since 2002. And there's like a little mystery that's going on around him because he was an American citizen, wrote this comic book. Comic book jumped out the gate, did well. We were supposed to get issue 2, never got it, and he just abandoned the comic book industry. Went to Africa, became a warden, became a part of like the council in Liberia, and then around this time, the rebels started to move in. I remember being in college when Liberia started really acting up down there. Yeah, man, he got kidnapped. And the last thing, one of the surviving kidnappers, not kidnappers, but kidnappees, said that the last time they saw him was years ago. He fled into the jungle, and they never saw him again. So it was just weird. It was a really, really good story, considering the times that we're in now, very Afrocentric. It is a bit of a Black Panther T'Challa knockoff. I don't know if that's what shooed people away. But I do know when we talk about, unfortunately, we like to cry about what Marvel and DC doesn't do and how we don't respect the writers, Mark Bright. But then when we actually highlight it's some of our lowest viewing shows. So that's a weird trip. But I think a lot of sometimes people do more talking than actually participating. But that's a conversation for another day. Brother Man said, I do and others as well, but never see anything posted a lot and don't look until it's too late. Yeah, you guys got to turn your notifications on. That's all I can tell you, man. We post these things and no likes, no comments, and they just kind of sit there. So we're like, ain't no sense of us allowing this to hurt our algorithm. So we take it down. So it is what it is. I'm going to keep it pushing. So let's see. What are some highlights of the week? Man, here's some things I'm proud of, man. So we know that the Black Panther was the first black superhero mainstream comics to ever lead a team. That happened, I think, in the Avengers. Man, don't quote me on that. I'm going to leave it down in the comments later. But it's a weird issue because he's elected chairman while they're out on the mission. He's chairman for a while. Then later we see, I believe we see Monica Rambeau first, and then we see Storm. But then again, I could be wrong. I think it actually is Storm who led a team unofficially, and then she defeated Cyclops to officially become the team lead of the X-Men. And this was also around Secret Wars too. And then Monica Rambeau, I believe, would later become the chairman of the Avengers, which would be the second black chairman of the Avengers. And then, as far as leads, it kind of falls off after that. But that's in the Marvel verse. But on the DC side of the world, I said, well, who was the first black character to lead a team or to lead the Justice League? Well, it wasn't the Justice League, but it would be the Teen Titans. And it would be this issue right here. Like, literally, Cyborg is being worked on. He's having some issues. And the only reason why he becomes the lead is because Nightwing, Dick Grayson, is like, yeah, I'm done. And that's why you're going to be the lead. So get yourself together, bro. He's like, what? And so in the following issue, he becomes the lead of the Teen Titans, and which is pretty cool. We also see around that time where Vixen joins the Justice League Detroit, which is it's like the West Coast Avengers to a certain extent. It's not the main Justice League. It's like a subsidiary of the Justice League Detroit. She was tokenized, obviously, on that team because she was the only black member. It started off that way, and then it kind of got more diverse over time. But yeah, that definitely. So definitely go and pick up this book. Is this book considered a key? No, but it's definitely a noteworthy issue, and I will be also adding this to the website. Hopefully, you guys are looking at our website, blackcommonlawyers.net. We post keys, we post noteworthy issues, and things of that nature. Let's see what else. Man, I didn't know that your boy Alex Ross is actually going to give us some more original black character, old school 80s black character love, man. We are getting Cloak in Venom, I believe Venom issue 10. That's going to come out in about 3 more months. I think it's at issue number 7 right now. So it's going to come out in 3 more months. I definitely will be picking this up. I mean, Cloak is probably one of these characters that nobody really talks and really cares about like that. They don't really cut for. And I don't know. He's got some cool powers, but he's so dark, and I think he falls almost to where like a Brother Voodoo falls. Like, but with Brother Voodoo, you see a lot of depth of Brother Voodoo. There's some depth there, the Cloak, but he's so tied to Dagger. And the whole thing with Dagger, like they're not in they're not married, they don't have any kids. They're just together, and he needs her to, he needs to absorb that light. She has to kind of balance him out so he won't, go crazy or anything like that. Let's see what we got. Email it to me. Ralph Jackson and Cyborg for DC, but some try to credit Black Lightning. People try to credit Black Lightning for everything because they don't know they haven't done any research on any black superheroes. And when they think of old school black superheroes, they see Black Lightning in the butterfly collar, and they say, oh, he must be the first one. It's really a lot of ignorance. There's tons of black superheroes for DC Comics. Now, Ralph Jackson said, Ralph Jackson was back in the 40s in the military. You could argue that he was the first superheroes. You could also argue that August Durant, but he's not your traditional superhero in the sense. He was a military guy, but I mean, no shade, no disrespect to him. I appreciate you bringing him up. But this is specifically capes and cows type of superheroes. So let me preface it by saying that. So Cyborg would be first to actually lead a superhero team. Justice League, I have to go do the research on that. I don't think it's John Stewart. I'm pretty sure it's not Mr. I don't know if there was ever a black-led chairman for Justice League, but there was a black chairman for the Justice Society. And let's see if I can find that. Is it this one right here? Yes, it's this one right here. So JSA, this issue right here, you had Mr. Terrific become. Well, actually, this is where no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And this issue is not Mr. Terrific's first appearance, but it's Mr. Terrific's first appearance in this iconic outfit that he would go on to wear. Because remember, in the Spectre, and the comic issue of the Spectre, I think 97, 98, when he first appeared in comics, he just had on some goggles, and that was kind of it. He literally just became Mr. Terrific. Shout out to the Mr. Terrific creatives, because they created, they're creating this real origin story, because we don't really have a definitive, really neat and cool bundled origin of Mr. Terrific like he deserves. But I guess it's going to lead up to him joining the JSA. He later does join the JSA. I want to say it's issue 13. I will make a post about it in the Black Comic Lords group, and I also leave it down in the comments. And they literally, I don't want to say they run out of options, but they take a vote. He's voted in as the team lead. And he's just like, they literally vote him in as lead, and then some of them go out and have some beers, and some of them like disassemble from the team. And so he's kind of have to gather the leftover JSA members. So it's interesting. But it's really, really cool to kind of see these characters take lead, especially in DC Universe, because it's not really good luck trying to become a lead, and good luck being in back in, especially in the early 2000s, prior to Dwayne McDuffie. Good luck being not just the only tokenized black character in the series, because Vixen had to deal with that. Black Lightning had to deal with that. Mr. Terrific has had to deal with that on this team, he was the only black character for a long while. Let's see what else we got here that we can talk about. Oh yeah, man, this was crazy too. So we all read this book, Black Panther number 10, 2005, Reginald Hudlin run, where they basically have Diddy in this issue without saying Diddy. T'Challa pulls up to the club, and Diddy literally tries to have T'Challa killed. So I made a joke, like it started to resurface because of the Diddy trial, and people are talking about, it's like 3 or 4 pages of them having a character that his likeness was based off of P. Diddy. But yeah, man, it's oh snap. You know what I forgot to do? I'm sitting in here running my mouth, and I forgot to give Dion the link so he can even join the darn group. I'm sitting here like, I'm an idiot for that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run a quick commercial while I get Dion squared away on this show, man. Here we go.
Comics are different. Those things cannot be returned if they do not sell. Okay, so that means that if they buy 10 copies of Monica Rambeau Photon and nobody buys it, they eat that money. And your local comic shop is, the margins are very thin, right? Times are hard for everybody. And so what that means is that it gives comic shop owners incentive to be very risk averse, right? And so you could order a bunch of Batman and you know that every month people are going to come in and buy Batman. It's often characters of color, new characters, lesser known characters where they're like, I don't know, this could be good, but if I put this on my shelves and people don't buy it, I lose money. And I'm sympathetic to that. That's a real assessment that they have to make. So the way that we avoid that is you go in and you pre-order. So Paul goes in 3 months before the comic set comes out and says, hello, I would like to pre-order Monica Rambeau Photon #1. I'm not going to wait till it comes out. I'm telling you now that I want it. And at that point, they're like, okay, let me go ahead and order this. And in the comics world, that is the sale that counts. By the time you come into a store and purchase a comic book, that sale does not count. I know it is ridiculous. It is very silly. That is the way it is. The sale that counts is when the store orders it from the distributor. That is what they are counting. And so what that means is that when you go in and you pre-order things, it actually gives that store confidence. Like, okay, Paul said Paul's going to be back and spend his $5 on this book. So we're good. If we order this one, we know it's going to sell and we can pay our rent. We're not going to be eating this cost this month. The best thing to do is your subscription or your pull list, where you go in and you say, I want you to put these in every month for me, right? And then they will set that aside in a box.
Message.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Let me know that y'all can hear me. Newbie and Mr Terrific were members, but not really leaders. Nubia was not a member back in the day. Nubia was recently added within the last 3 years. So she was never like a OG. Mr. Terrific on and off again member. But he was the lead. He was primarily, when he first came out the box, he was primarily a JSA member. I don't know what happened to Dion. Maybe he mad at me. But, here's Dion right here. Let me get him in here. Man, what's good?
Yo.
My
Hey,
bad,
what's up, man?
I'm sitting here telling you, yo, we here. And it's like, I never sent this dude the link. Wow, my bad.
You're
bro.
like, let's go. I'm like, okay. Sitting on the sideline waiting.
Sitting on this, put me in, coach. I'm like, where's the
Put me
punter?
in,
Everybody's
coach.
ready. We need the punt. Well, where's the kicker? Where's the punter? How are we gonna set this thing up? But yeah, man, we talked about some stuff. We just highlighted some stuff that went on in the space this week. However, we're stopped by with this Diddy post that Reginald Hudlin was trying to tell us, man. He was trying to warn us about Diddy, man.
Oh, he snuck it in, huh?
He snuck it in, but I mean, he did this back in 2005. I mean, how much craziness was going on 20 years ago? I don't know. But they say this whole thing been going on for a while. But it's just funny. Obviously, he couldn't use his name, but he damn sure used his likeness. And I'm pretty sure, as of right now, Diddy knows that, yeah, he used my likeness in there. He probably thought it was pretty cool back then. He probably said, oh, man, I'm in a comic book, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Bro, you know something I found very, very interesting? And it's something that is in the pop culture community is fairly well known. I want you to think. Look at P. Diddy's face. Look at all the, how he looks. There is a big, young, big-time influencer that looks exactly like him, bro. You know who I'm talking about?
He hangs out with Drewski.
He hangs out with Drewski and Kevin Hart all the time.
I know Drewski. I don't.
Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat looks like. Wow.
He looks like Diddy, bro. He looks like a younger version of Diddy. And if you type in Kai Cenat and Diddy, everybody, there's videos on the whole nine, bro. And I'm sitting in my car thinking about content tomorrow. I'm like, yo, that dude kind of do look like Diddy a little bit. I mean, they're both from New York. I don't know. But
so we got Diddy's long lost son.
Nah, well,
conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy, bro. Conspiracy.
But I see in the art that definitely looks like Diddy. He didn't pay no royalties.
But
Marvel did not pay no royalties for that.
They ain't got to. It's just his likeness. And it's semi-likeness. But here's the thing. Why would Reginald Hudlin do this randomly? All the rappers that was bigger than P. Diddy in 2005, why would he use P. Diddy? Come on, man. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think Reginald Hudlin is Hollywood, right? He knows, he knows what's going on. He's heard stories. I don't think, and as close as he is, he's a lot more close to Hollywood than we are. There's no way he didn't hear whispers. He might even got invited. See some jump off, was like, oh no, call me. Well, Uber's wasn't around, but call my assistant. I got to go. Or had some eyewitness accounts from people saying, man, boy, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Where you been? Man, I just got back from Diddy's party. Well, what was you doing out there? Man, we were just playing basketball and, playing basketball at 3 o'clock in the morning. Man. Yeah.
A lot of balls going in holes for basketball, huh?
Hey, whoa. It's not safe for work, man. So if you ain't work, listen to that. You might want to turn this down, man. So man. Says, don't forget to like and share the show. Yeah. It wasn't part of the industry and knew what was going on. Yeah. They did. Now, crap, I was gonna say something right before I read Angel's comment. I don't forgot what it was. Oh man. All right, I guess we'll keep it pushing because that thought is gone.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of memes. He's been like the Diddler. I've seen like him in the Riddler. I don't know, people doing AI art or artists actually painting him as like a Marvel and DC villain for some of the memes and whatnot. I would not be surprised. Maybe the boys tackle him in the next season.
Nah,
I don't know.
Gonna stay out of it. They gonna stay out of it. Boys, the boys don't even need to do. Listen, Diddy is so low hanging fruit. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. But this is the comic book in question. Now, if Diddy would have been doing this during the COVID, this book would have been $100. $100 because everything was spiking. This book would have been, you can get this book $3, $4. Nobody doesn't care. And plus, plus people are looking at him as a horrible person. Speaking of horrible people, y'all, and we all know that R. Kelly is in prison right now. And there's a lot of reports coming out that Nazi gang groups in there trying to kill him. He's also in a spider-infested room. And a lot of people are saying good for him because he was out here raping girls. I don't feel sorry for him or whatever. But I think it's crazy, man. Listen, prison is not the move, man. Prison is not the move. I don't care if it's for anything. Fraud. I don't even care if it's for petty theft. It's not the move. It is not. I hate waiting in the dentist office, doctor's office for my appointment. I don't want to be sitting in the room just waiting, looking at a wall all day.
Man, you got to be about that life. You've got to be about that life, man.
You got to be about that life. And people be like, ain't nothing for me to go back. Okay. I'm not trying to go in there, bro. I'm not trying to go in there, bro. Like, it ain't. I'm not trying to go in there. Speaking of comics, this is easily the greatest Luke Cage comic book of all time. That ain't saying much because he's got, in my opinion, only a handful of like, oh my God, this is iconic. This is for him. For his series, this is dope. But this one right here is by far the best. This is quintessential. You don't, in my opinion, if you don't have this book, I mean, come on. This is almost as important as having his first appearance. And to make it so bad, I got it for cover or whatever. They only had a limited amount of copies in my shop. And they put these variants to the back for some weird in the back of the stack. You know how the comics they stack them up. They put these in the back. And I get they have to put variants at the back of the cover. But one shop, Coliseum of Comics in Millennium, you know where that's at. They were trying to sell this for $34.
Ooh, 34, huh?
Dollars. I'm like, bro, I'm not. And because I walked in there, it was a book. I'm like, where the frick is the book? Behind the counter, up high on the wall, Luke Cage, $34.
Well, I'm glad someone values the book, right? To a certain degree.
They scalping the hell out of it. They're trying to scalp the book.
Man, you got.
And then I went on eBay.
You gotta play the black tax.
Bro, I went on eBay and freaking if I saw the book for $4. That's all right. I'm finna just go to my LCS. There's no rush to buy this book. Luke Cage just does not have transactional fans though. I don't care about I remember Luke Cage. I used to read. I don't care about none of that. It's when his books drop, do you buy him? That's the only thing that matters. It don't matter. He can have 1 billion fans in Dubai, but if they ain't buying the books, it doesn't matter. Fandom only listen. Am I about to say fandom only matters if you make a purchase? I don't know. Maybe I am about to say that. I didn't say that, so don't attack me in the comments. But it's like that's where the rubber meets the road. You know, for me at least. If I'm T'Challa, I want y'all to go out and buy my books so I can stay on the shelves. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Man, I mean, you're telling the truth, but Luke Cage shut down Netflix in the first season when it first came out. The servers went down. We were Cage. Yeah, Cage Mania was real with Mick Coulter that first season. Server went down.
Did you just say Mick Coulter, bro?
I said Mike Coulter, man. I'm still waking up. I ain't get that coffee yet.
He said, Brotman says all these old comics, but nobody mentions Slimeman. You need to go join the Black Comic Lawyers group. We talk about them all the time. Nobody owns. There's only like 2 people I know.
Uh-huh.
Stephen Bowers and Deron Flood. Speaking of Deron Flood, he'll be hosting Atlantic Comic Con in August. I think it's I don't want to give the wrong dates, but definitely will be in August. So just type in Atlantic Comic Con 2025. When the information age, everything's there. No, everybody talks about Lion Man. They just did a Kickstarter for Lion Man like a month ago.
Yeah, brother man, to you. Did you get it? John Jennings was behind that project.
Hey, yo, that's a good question. You say
Did you
nobody
get it?
talks about Lion Man, but did you buy it? Oh, I didn't hear nothing about it.
Well, you should be in Black Comic Lords.
Should be in Black Comic Lords Facebook.
It was well known.
It was well known. They got original story, all original art. This is public domain.
Yeah.
So
okay, he said he got it. He copped it. Okay.
Good. See, and so I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. We set you up because you'd be like, man, I ain't know nothing about it. We'd be like, see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Y'all fans, but we gotta be transactional. Man. I don't know. That gets controversial because I'm a fan of the Invincible TV show, but I don't buy the books, but I watch the shows. But I am going to start buying the books because there's a couple characters in there that I want to buy. So that can be controversial. So again, do not leave me a comment, Thompson. Just because you don't buy comics doesn't mean. Listen, I never said that. I said if I only asked was I about to say that, but I never said that. So you don't need to come in the comment section, angry texting thumb warrior. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't buy everything. Listen, come on, man. It's not even that serious. I'm not talking about you, bro, man. I'm just talking about people in general. So yeah, man, hands down, best Luke Cage comic book I've ever seen. Oh my gosh, what is this here? That Cyborg, we talked about that. We talked about JSA, P. Diddy. Man, this is Ebon. We got a 9. Ebon is, here's the thing about this. This post garnered 12 likes and a couple of comments. This is one of the highly sought after comic books. Well, I would say highly sought after, but you almost have to be, it's only 100 copies. There's always nowadays a book online of Ebon, but you're going to pay a mortgage to buy it. You're going to pay, I don't want to say a mortgage, but a house payment, monthly house payment, or more to purchase it. Stephen Bowers was able to get his hands on a raw 9.6. He got it pressed in slab for a 9.6, which makes it one of 3 of the highest. He didn't put none of this information in there, by the way, but I'm gonna get into that. I think 9.6 is one of the highest. I think one of 3 of the highest graded comics for Ebon, and then he has a 9.4 tabloid. So I just my biggest fear with Ebon is this. I've interviewed Larry Fuller. We've talked, we chat. He's still alive. Regardless if he's dead or alive, if there's no literacy, no scholarship, no education about Ebon every time it's posted, this book is going to be impacted in the future. And the price and the value of this book is going to decline. That is why I didn't used to be, but I am now, one of the biggest proponents of comic book education, especially with characters that ain't T'Challa in Storm and Luke Cage. Because those characters, for the most part, most people are at base level of who they are. But once we start getting into Afrofuturism, which we're going to talk about futurism, we start getting the Black-owned content. Nobody wants to do research. Nobody's going to Google anything. And these books are going to pop up and people are not going to see the value. And it's not because, and 100% be because people don't have the funds. People are just not educated. Because posting these 3 books alone does absolutely nothing. Unless you know what it is. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you're right. Black Comic Lords, you guys do a great job of basically you guys are chronicling history. You guys are literally the archives when it comes to history of Black comics. And before I joined the group, if I would have went to a LCS and went to a dollar bin section and flipped through it and saw this book, I wouldn't know what it was. I would have continued to flip through it. You know what I mean? Like the education of knowing the historical significance of these titles. It's important. It's important. And whether you think 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, there always will be a YouTube section somewhere on the internet where this information can be easily presentable and can inform the people, inform the youth, and inform new age collectors on the importance of this title. It's super important, man.
So, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, Ebon is considered the first black superhero that was created in its own title by a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, man. That doesn't always, you don't always see that appear with this book. When the people are trying to sell it, it does. But you have to know to type in Ebon. Who's going to do that? You know, and so when people do, this book needs to be posted more often. And there's an art to posting stuff like this. People just say, oh, this is Ebon's first black superhero in his own title, and that's it. And they think, oh, everything's going to cascade and it's going to go viral from there. It doesn't work like that. It has to be organic, but you do have to paint the right picture. And I think there's an art to posting historical things. There's an art to curating some of these things. And when you just kind of throw a summary with some of this stuff, it just doesn't do anything. You know, when you say December 1969, when the book was actually created, you know, prior to that, it was, you know, few far in between to see black characters on the front of a cover that they were leading in. But this was the first black superhero to do that. Now, you did have Joe, am I saying Joe Louis? No, not Joe Louis. Yeah, Joe Louis. Joe Louis? Yeah, I believe Joe Louis was on the cover. I believe that book, Joe Louis, the boxer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was on the cover of a comic book that was created by a black person. And in the book, he was a hero. So you can kind of argue that. But again, I'm going to preface Ebon by saying capes and cows. It was cape and cow. Because superhero is very, very broad. A lot of people think superheroes is superpowers. Superheroes doesn't have anything actually to do with superpowers. It has to do with you. If you Google in the dictionary what superheroes is, it has more to do with being having extraordinary abilities. That could be Dion drawing real well. That could be Dion. That could be you beating Ashton Hall because you're very fast. Most people don't run a 4.4. Okay, yeah. It could be you being a really, really good counselor, and you can cope or help people that's on drugs or something. It's a wide range of different things. Batman has 0 superpowers. And the funny thing about superhero is the only difference between Batman and a police officer, they both have on an outfit, they both have a utility belt. One just works for the city or the state, federal government, and the other one is a vigilante. But they're both technically, by definition, superheroes. But they're just not traditional ones. And that's where things get kind of dicey. I know I'm going to get a DM from one of my mentors. I was going to say, hey, man, I understand what you were trying to say, but you muttered all that up. And let me tell you what you should have said. But, yeah, man. Brotman says, I mentioned black superheroes in comics to Marvel, DC, and even Stan Lee and James Gunn and Kevin Feige way back. Damn, bro, you got a chance to meet all them? Wow. I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure they wasn't going to do nothing with it. Because at the end of the day, we got to see the sales. Like, where's the drive? Like, if they can probably turn around and say, well, most black people are cosplaying as white characters. Most black people are standing in line for white-centric characters. There's really no push from black or white people to really uplift and promote these black characters. That's going to garner me to turn around and invest multi-million dollars in them.
Right. Do we give them an incentive?
What is the incentive to do that?
Yeah.
You know, man, there's a picture that I'm remiss that I didn't add. Let me, what's been going on with you though this week?
Oh, this week, man, just been getting ready to go to Charlottesville going to be a boom op for a short film project. Working on the Last Ronin TMNT fan trailer. Been shooting that, and actually, I think we're going to release the trailer for that today. But yeah, man, just film stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's really about it, bro. Same old, man. Same old.
So
Happy
tell me what a
Juneteenth, by the
boom.
way.
Happy Juneteenth. Listen, Juneteenth is controversial too, but we got to get into that another day, man. It's controversial now because let's just get into
Go
it,
for
man.
it. Just go for it. It's Juneteenth. Go for
I
it, bro.
wanted to talk about the letter that Marvel received after Silver Surfer #5, where basically a white guy wrote in and was like, "Hey, y'all making us feel like we being racist. Well, you added a lot of black people into your comics, and you're talking about how we don't need to be racist and bigots." But we'll get into that maybe on tomorrow. Juneteenth is interesting. My history of Juneteenth is interesting. I was talking to my sister yesterday. When I was growing up in North Central Florida, we didn't celebrate Juneteenth. I didn't even know about it until I got to college. This is before the internet, before information. In Texas and all across the country, it was a big, especially in Houston, Texas, it's a huge thing. I didn't know about Juneteenth until I got to college, bro. I know I ain't by myself. I mean, I might be ashamed, but I knew about Black history and Black, and historical facts. But we were taught things from just the basic, and nobody celebrated. So post college, people celebrated it, but it turned into like the Martin Luther King weekend, car shows, dudes sitting out here playing murder music. It turned into something that it wasn't supposed to be. So I kind of left MLK weekend alone, and I kind of left the Juneteenth alone, because here's the problem. You either got around if you had an MLK program, you had to go to church. But those are just mostly old people. And I'm young, so I don't want to be around a bunch of old people. Hey, that's me at the time. I don't mind it now, right? Because I'm getting old. Or if you wanted to hang around young people, you had to go out there to the park, do some drugs, and play a bunch of murder music. That was the thing to do. So it's just weird how it's evolved. And then during the George Floyd, the Black Power movement that we've had in the last a couple of years ago, I don't want to say in the last 10 years, because a lot of that stuff, the Hoteps, a lot of those people are gone. The Black Power movement that popped up, you heard more about Juneteenth. You saw more memes. You saw more people in appreciation. But I felt like as soon as people wanted to embrace Juneteenth again, you had more people come back, not necessarily the Hoteps of the world, but you had more people come back and say, well, shit, we ain't, excuse my language, we ain't really free. So what are you talking about? Like, why are we celebrating, Juneteenth is something that white folks gave us, even though it's not. But, we don't need to celebrate Juneteenth until we become free. So then it's like, all right, then you pouring water on my sandwich now. So I feel, it made Black people feel guilty about celebrating. Because people are like, well, we ain't really free. We got police brutality going on. We got this, that, and the third. So I'm going to go on social media today. I wonder if my feed is going to be, my algorithm is going to be bombarded with Black empowerment imagery and, oh, thank God we got out of slavery. But the funny part is that we're thanking our oppressors for releasing us. Thanks for letting us go, master. And so that's how a lot of people look at it. So it's a weird trip. Juneteenth has become this weird Black pill kind of trip, because although we want to genuinely celebrate our freedom and liberation, it's hindered by the fact that our oppressors thought enough to take the shackles, the physical shackles off, but there's a lot of mental shackles. There's a lot of oppressive shackles that are still there. And so it's like, how much can you really celebrate?
It's complicated. Weird. Yeah.
It's weird. And then there's a lot of people, like for myself, like I don't deal with bigotry and racism at the forefront like some people do. So for me, I try to live my life as a human first, right? Then a Black person. And I know that's controversial to other people, but that's how God wants us to live. God don't say, well, Black people need to come to heaven first because they're Black. No, man. or black people get blessed first because they're black. No other. We are only entity that thinks like that. And I want to be more like, I'm working on it. And as y'all hear me cuss, as y'all hear me say and do stuff, I'm working to be more like Christ. And Christ is like, we all one, we all equal. The rest of the world might not see it that way. We might be in war with Iran right now, and they're a different set and group of people than us. But I believe God has called us to love each other. That's one of the last commandments Christ gave us, is to love, one another like I love y'all.
Man,
that's one of
some heavy
the
statements right there.
But it's so hard to, as a human being with the sitting in this flesh, it's hard to get there.
Look, you're better than me, man. I didn't even know about Juneteenth in college. I literally learned about Juneteenth like 5 years ago. No cap, man. Growing up for me, MLK Day, MLK weekend was like, you know what I'm talking about. Twerk for freedom. You see the flyers.
Yeah, it just turns you off. Like,
Yeah.
that ain't what motherfuckers struggle for, bro.
Right.
And I know there's gonna be some people that's gonna hop in the comments and say, well, they don't represent all of us. But we're not louder than them. The nonsense is louder. The nonsense part of the MLK weekend and Juneteenth is louder than the people that got some damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. I know people are like, well, nonsense will always be. Well, we got to stop. We got to change the. Problem is, if you go and try to tell those people on social media to take it down, you're going to get attacked. That's the problem. You're going to get attacked by more people. There's more people that's going to attack you on their side than there is the righteous people that's going to stand with you and say, no, that's not right. And that's what's problem with the culture. There's more people standing up for nonsense, and then we'll go in DMs and we'll say, yeah, man, those dudes are crazy. Nah, man, go out there. Listen, when it comes to the foolishness on the right side, we need to take the Hebrew Israelites approach. We need to be louder than everybody else. The Hebrew Israelites might be loud and wrong, but we need to take their approach, at least be loud, having the numbers. We don't got the numbers. The people that's spreading the murder music, talking all this crazy stuff, helping the black fatigue thing grow, we need to be louder than them. And that ain't what's happening. That ain't what's happening, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I get people saying they want to go out, celebrate, have a good time. Yeah, for sure. If you want to, have a good time, that's cool. But you don't have to you don't have to Photoshop a do-rag on Martin Luther King,
bro.
Yeah, you don't have that, twerk for. You don't have to do. You know what I'm talking about? Those DC, Baltimore, Atlanta clubs with the flyers. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I hope the museums are not doing chicken and watermelon meals today.
Yeah,
or functions.
And of course, we had like 23 people listening. Now we down to 9. So I know we doing
all
the
right.
right thing.
Let's go back to the comics.
No. We doing the right thing, because if that many people left, that means that's good. Because that means I'm telling the truth. Because if I'm lying, most people that lie, you're gonna have the biggest crowd, because you're gonna tell them exactly what they want to hear. Most people that have the biggest crowds, you better be very careful, because that means that your message is moldable for a lot of different minds, and your message should be something that makes people question, maybe convict them, maybe make them move around, and that's a good thing. I'm not Jesus by any form of the fact, but when Jesus spoke, people came, but there was some people that walked away, like the the rich young ruler. He asked Christ, how can I be saved? He said, you got to sell all your possessions. And he walked away sad. He said, hell, I can't do that. So I'm good. I'm good with it. I mean, hey, I might be a little silly sometimes. I might get a little biblical sometimes, but I'm yet working. I'm striving. God ain't through working with me. And I'm fine. I'm not even mad. I do got to get out of here, though. They are bringing back. So John Sumter, who is the Junior, who is basically created the Spider-Man 94 universe. They're coming out with a Spider-Man 94 comic book to continue to the series. Now, John Sumter is a black man who was responsible for everything that we got out of the Spider-Man universe, but they did not tell him that they were doing this. So he feels a little jaded, but he says, you know what? I'm not surprised because this is basically Marvel. It would have been nice if they would have told me they was doing something that I basically put together. But then again, it's like, no, they kind of put you in charge of this. It's still their IP. It's still their characters. Granted, you're basically the guy who came up with everything and put it all together, but it's still their stuff. And it's unfortunate, but that's how they do a lot of their artists. So I will be, will I be supporting this book? I might read it online. I might go and buy it, but it needs to be good. But it's unfortunate how they did him. But that's politics, that's business, I guess. But it's more so politics than anything else, though, man. It's kind of whack, but yeah. But they'll be finishing basically the cartoon in a comic book.
Yeah,
because they kind of left us in the cliffhanger. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
I mean, we got to give a shout out to, I guess, to him and to, Dwayne McDuffie and all the other black cartoon writers out there who are kind of behind the scenes. Producers, you know what I mean? Jeffrey Thorne, you know what I'm saying, with his Avengers. I mean, there's a lot of black talent behind a lot of pulp culture stuff that you just don't know about or people don't give their roses to.
Which brings me to my last point. Yimba Bay made basically a post for me. He basically made a post for me because I've been wanting the same damn thing. He says, please remove if not. I hate when people say, please remove if not allowed. And this like, he says, Afrofuturism. I've observed a decline in black-centric content. Wow, you don't say. Within blurred communities, how did we allow this to happen? There was like 49 comments, and most of them were basically saying anime's better. Afrofuturism really isn't a thing. And I'll be honest with you, man. We might have to table this discussion to tomorrow. We're going to get this one, and we're gonna review that letter that the bigot sent in to. I don't know. Can I really call him a bigot? I don't know, but we're gonna talk about it. But we got to table this for tomorrow. But real quick, give me your thoughts before we close this out. But we're gonna talk about this tomorrow. But go ahead.
My closing thoughts. I think we need to get a blurred. I think we need to get a 19, 20, 21-year-old blurred.
Yeah,
and how we gotta have some. If we want some honest discussion, because it's just you don't want to turn to just it's old heads complaining about what the young kids are doing. You know what I mean? Because if there's a bridge to be gapped, it's got to be an open conversation of why. I think I get it. Kind of being in my 30s, the escapism. And not want to dealing with with the racism and the history, just want a pure escapism from day-to-day life and day-to-day history. But I gotta have the discussion, man. I think it'd be a good, cool, dope round table. Get a couple of the young blurs, get a couple of the old heads, and I don't know, just talk it out. Because other than that, they're not, we're just going to complain that these kids that don't know what they're doing. And then the kids are just like, man, those old heads, was it Black Goliath? Oh, that's old school. Black Lightning. That's I'm with My Hero Academia. I'm not with this, whatever black superhero that's out right now.
I don't really think, do you have to have oppression and be an angry black person to really jump on some of these black-centric things? That's the big question. Because I've never seen, like, I tell people all the time, and people I argue with me, my mentor, like, bro, if Black Panther came out today, I don't think it would do the same numbers. Granted, it was revolutionary. It was an amazing film. One of my favorites in the MCU, probably my one or my number two. But you also had a lot of angry black people. You don't have as many, and the youth aren't as angry like that with white people. They didn't come up with this. They don't have the same history. It's a lot of different psychological and emotional dynamics that come with a lot of these things as well. And we can talk about it tomorrow. Having a blurred on an ITO blur, his information on Afrofuturism is going to be limited. He's only going to be able to speak to anime. Like, he's probably not even delved into. And as far as he can go is, well, anime has some black characters. Like, there's really nothing to really. Honestly, the truth is, there's not a lot of Afrofuturism that's going around. That's being like promoted by influencers. Number one, there's not. Like, what big time, small, medium influencers are really pushing Afrofuturism like that? I don't want to hear about Black Panther. That's a whole different thing. But it's not really being pushed. You go to a DreamCon or something, it's not being pushed. It's at the forefront. So shout out to Ebon Bay, man. We might need to make him a Black Comic Lord admin or something. Cause he hit it on the head.
He
But
be
these
out
are
there
the-
tearing it up. I be seeing him.
Man, but listen, I gotta get out of here. I'm like 10 minutes late. But we will be back tomorrow to touch on this topic. Throw some stuff into the comment section. If you want us to talk with us, you want us to talk about tomorrow in the comment section, we'll be there as well. Shout out to the people that left because they got scared when I started talking about the Bible. They say if you're scared, go to church. Shout out to the people that stuck around. Appreciate you for coming on, D.
All right, y'all. See y'all later.
Yeah,
Peace.
peace.